everybody's cool. Everything's alright. You better pray that your old man don't get home tonight. Let me drive my car where the wild things are. I got a green limousine. Everyone's a star, but they won't get far without a green limousine.
G'day guys, welcome to this week's video. I've spent a bit more money this week. I've spent, what is it, 50 bucks on these items. I don't know if you've seen these before, but this is an adjustable sanding block, and what you can do with this is by turning this, you can make it, this is very tricky to do one-handed, you can make it do all kinds of wonderful things. And you can change the shape of it. So if I want to sand in here on this pillar, I just wind this, hold on, I just crank this until it matches the shape of whatever I want to sand. And obviously it's tricky to do one-handed, but you get the idea. Oh, maybe this one's a bit big, maybe I'll need a smaller one to get in there, but and it goes the other way, so if I wind it the other way to match that shape there, you know, that's going to be super good for, especially for this front bit. I've got to obviously buy the sanding paper for it. It's the Velcro, so what they call hook and loop. But still, dang baby, for 20 bucks, I'm pretty stoked with that. My wife thinks it's a gimmick, she doesn't like it, but I think it's going to be fantastic. I mean, watching these for a while, they've come right down in price. Temu is my new addiction. I thought it was going to be like Wish, and I wasn't interested at all for a long time, but now that I've discovered the glory of Temu, not everything's perfect obviously, but I really like it. So can you see how that's coming around to match that contour? I mean, for crying out loud, how good is that? Even just for roughing down. Holy cow, that's going to save me so much time. Yeah? What do we think? 20 bucks, Temu. Then I got these little discs. I took my die grinder to work because I use it at work all the time, so I need to get another one, but my die grinder's straight and I want to get an angled one. But I do have like a Dremel, so I'm going to see if it works. Not an actual Dremel, it's a cheap version, a knockoff by a Zito, which you buy at Bunnings. So I'm going to try these on there. It's been a long time since I did a video on this and I haven't progressed at all. So I'm going to probably grab these purple 120s, maybe probably the purple 120s, and just sand this back and see how that goes, and get to welding it. So they were 30 bucks for all of these ones. I don't even know how many pieces are in there, but a lot. For 30 bucks, that's good value. I bought a heap of other stuff, but it's not for this Valiant, so I'm not going to add that to the list. Yeah, so got to add another 50 bucks to the tally. which will bring it, see what my quick math's like, to, if I'm correct, it'll bring that to $411.25. So I'll put them up there, and we still haven't spent much money at all. As I say, I haven't had an opportunity to work on it. I'm getting really antsy to get this thing done, and yet I know there's still so much to do. So anyway, getting back to it. I tried to use my Dremel, well, the knockoff, the Azedo knockoff, but the fittings are too big for it. But it comes with this, come on, comes with this attachment, which is for, again, I'm just using my Azedo, but I found it very effective. Look, ready? I mean, that was pretty decent. Obviously, I'm going to use the angle grinder with the flappy disc to knock down the welds. But for cleaning up in between focus, for cleaning up in between, I think this here is going to be just bloody magical. And it is wearing out pretty quick, but I think that's because it's not turning as fast as I'd like. So I went to Super Cheap yesterday and priced up an angle grinder. It's 45, not angle grinder, die grinder, right angle die grinder, $45. So that's pretty good. So when I get a second, I'll go in and buy myself one of them. Probably time to give my compressor a birthday too. Went to a car show on the weekend and didn't even think about recording. What was it called? It was called the Curtin Car Show in Perth, Western Australia. So got this sign here, $30 I think that was, and then that talks about the origin of the two-door Valiant Pacer, which is very similar to the American Dodge Dart. Got a WD-40 poster for the wall. These are all done on tin, and origin of the Valiant Charger and the Valiant Pacers. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Australian cars, oh, I've got a reflection in it. That's pretty similar to what I'll be painting this thing up, but green and black. But I'll also be putting that front stripe on it because I just love them. They're called a Bumblebee. Yeah, but that was the Valiant Pacer, and that's what I'm modelling this off. But yeah, this was a great sign. My wife found this, and that was $60 for that one. So yeah, I'm going to put them up on the wall around here, just to freshen the place up a bit. Try and get some inspiration to keep coming in here and filming content for you guys. Alright, I've roughed it down with the angle grinder with the flappy disc on it, and now I'm gonna just go over it and just try and neaten it up somewhat with the because it's obviously very aggressive and I'd like it to be more localized, so I'm gonna have a crack with the smaller disc right here. Okay. Where will we go? We'll go there. really nicely. Yeah, really nicely. I'm pretty sure the one I've got on is a 120. And there's different grades, there's 80, 240, all in the same bag. I'm going to order another one of this. This is ridiculously good. And I reckon if it was on the, look at that, that's pretty flipping good. Yeah, if it was on the die grinder, I think they would last longer because they're spinning faster, and they would take it down a little bit nicer than this, because this is turning a little bit too slow, I think. But it shows you that you can do it. Where there's a will, there's a way. But I'm stoked with these for 30 bucks, and the sheer amount of stuff I got in that pack. I mean, I'm pretty happy. Anyway, I'm going to keep on. I'm not going to show you every bit of grinding, but it just sets the tone for the fact that, you know, you don't have to go and buy the latest and greatest and biggest and newest and most expensive thing to get a good result. I'm going to clean in between them. I'm going to knock them down a little bit, but, you know, I've still got a lot of welding to do, so I'm not going to get too carried away. What I am going to get carried away with is making sure that the metal is clean as I weld. But yeah, I'm a very happy, budget conscious fella. Okay, so like I said just before, I'm not blending the entire thing right at the moment because I've still got to lay down weld, but it's pretty darn smooth. Here, where it's got that big gap, I'm just going to cut a little bit of aluminium, about that big, and place that up under there and use that to basically be a bridge as I weld. But I'm not envisaging too much issue with this. It's all pretty good. It has slightly gone like that, and obviously that's exaggerated, but you know, instead of laying down exactly flat, it's a little bit like that. I'll probably tap that up now, get it reasonable, and then just keep it on it as I weld. You cannot weld and not get some kind of distortion, but overall this is pretty darn good. There's a little bit of, how you going, and a little bit of how do I put it, like they've done a bit of this and a bit of that, but it's really minor, and I'm going to be able to get that with a hammer and dolly. Slapping hammer probably would be my main go-to, I'm imagining, but we'll see if we go along. But I'm really not worried about it because it's pretty darn good. So I'm going to go and get set up. I'm going to get my bit of aluminium, and I'm going to probably tackle that bit. Like, I won't do it all in one, this gap. I don't know if you can see it from there, but it's reasonable. I stuffed up on the cut, but not going to stress about it. I'm just going to fill it in with weld. I won't obviously put all the weld in one hit, otherwise it really will warp it. All things being equal, though, I'm pretty happy with this. So just get to getting, I guess. I was going to use a much bigger bit of aluminium than that, but that'll do it. See how thin that is? Alright, I'm just going to cut that close to length and whack that up under there and just weld over the top of it, and that will be fine, because this won't stick to this. You can't weld aluminium to steel with a MIG welder. Not with my MIG welder anyway. Alright, that's plenty long enough for that. So I'm going to get the MIG set up, get some gloves on, and yeah, give it a tickle. I'll probably, that'll do it. I'm going to say I'll get some pliers or something, just so I can hold it up under there without getting burnt, but just that little clip will be fine. Find the spot. Just hold it up in place. They shall be sweet, mate. Absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes when I'm lying in bed or sitting up watching YouTube, I'll be thinking about how far we've come with this thing, and I'll just start to get really excited, and I'll be thinking, there's not much to go, and then I come out and have a look at it and I go, the reality is different to what's in here. But I'm not overwhelmed by it. This is a lovely thing about taking bites when I'm psychologically and physically feeling like I can. And then I see the progress, it's inspiring, it keeps me going, so it's great. Gas on, gas on. Where is my plug? There is my plug. Right. Unplug the angle grinder. Plug that in. Ooh, that reminds me. I've got some stuff to do. A little glove here. We'll do a little glove with that. I keep checking my phone for memory because it keeps running out of memory on me, and I've got to delete old videos and stuff. I don't want to switch off before I get this at least started. Alright. Beautiful, that's the noise we want. Now, I'm primarily a right-hander, but I'm very ambidextrous, so it's very very beneficial to be able to be somewhat ambidextrous when tail beating, because you've got to get yourself in all kinds of positions. Alright, let's go. Oh, that sounded nice. That didn't sound as nice. Right. Cool that for a minute, and then I'll come down here. I love the crisp smack of a MIG welder at some point. I really do. It makes me a very happy man. Never run away. Now I really wish I was TIGging this. I'm not gonna lie, I really wish I was TIGging it. I don't have those skills. I do have a torch on the way. My torch died, but mate's donating me his torch to use. So again, I really don't have those skills. So that's something I'm going to learn with you guys. I've never really TIGged. So yeah, it's MIG all the way at the moment. Yeah. Let me show you something. That swelled up, right? I don't know if you can see, but that is raised. This was already dipped a little bit, and as I've added the heat to it, it's dipped a whole lot more. That's not an uncommon thing. It's not something to be scared of, but sometimes when you're pulling dents out, you can put a bit of heat on them and they'll pop back out. But it also goes the other way. Sometimes you put a bit of heat on a dent and it sucks in and you stop immediately. So while that's still warm, I'm going to put you back up there and I'm going to hit it with the hammer and try and bring it up a little bit. So see how that goes. Because it's warm, it's really pliable, so I'm not terribly worried about it at all. That's coming up nice. Bring that one up too. Like I say, it's going to do things while you're adding heat to it. And as it cools down, and so at this point in the game, don't get too worried about it. Alright, you'll have time later on to spend on it to, you know, massage it. Is the word I'm going to use. Massage it into its proper final shape. I'm imagining by the time I'm finished with this repair, it'll only need the slightest skim of filler. We call it body filler here. You guys in America call it Bondo, I think, is or polyester fillers. it is not the enemy that it used to be if you use it correctly. If you're going to fill, that's no bueno, don't do that. Right, going to get my aluminium seed. Let's come up here. Can you see that? So you'll see that's got black marks from the welder, but it never stuck to it. But it has filled that hole quite nicely. Right, and so I'll go back to that now. Except I want my gloves on.
Because I don't want to get burned.
Really haven't been out in the shed much, and I can start to feel it in my mental health. I've been hitting the gym a bit, trying to get fit, which is great, but I feel like I need it in concert with, like I need my shed time. Even if it's an hour a week, I need some time in the shed, and I need my gym time, because they work together. They really work for me to feel 100%, but without both of those things going on, obviously I read my Bible and I have prayer time as well, which is really important for me as a Christian, but yeah, well, the sum of all things, I guess. Oh, that's not as nice as it. There we go. And as you saw before, once you blend these things, sweet. And now from there, I won't need that anymore. I can fill those holes without that. So I'll bring you over, give you a bit of a look before I go much further with it. So it's ugly, don't get me wrong, I'm not pretending it's beautiful or anything, but compared to the great big slit it was, focus for fella, compared to the great big slit it was, that's much better. So I will continue welding over here, and then I'll come back here and touch that in, and much like these ones up here, I'll just work my way along it and try and share the heat out. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with all of that. I'm going to keep on welding. I'm not going to time lapse or anything. I'm just going to get on with it, because you saw me do all this stuff last week, or last episode, whenever that was. We're in October now, so I don't even know when I put out the last one, to be honest. Alright, if I can get my glove off, which is proving difficult, I'll keep on with it. Alright, I'll cut you back when I've got some more progress. Okay, so that's it, fully welded on, obviously on the left hand side of the car, passenger side in Australia. It's not beautiful, but it's fully penetrated. Can I turn the light on while we're... Fill light, there we go. Okay, so we're going to go underneath. If you have a look, now I can't see what you're seeing, but if you have a look, it should be pretty much, there'll be the odd little pinhole or whatever, but there should be full penetration, which is what we're looking for. So then when I grind it back, I know that I'm not just grinding off surface weld and it's what is the word, compromised, because it'll just crack. So as I say, it's not the most beautiful welds in the world, and I'm a little bit sad about that, because I'd like to show you really nice welds, but that's not what we've got today. We had some blowouts, and that's always going to happen when you're cutting patch panels in, because you don't know how many times, because this is, I mean, just look how many layers on that patch panel, right? So we don't know what work's been done before, or how many times it's been sanded, whether it's a bit thinner or whatever. So had some blowouts. Just work your way around the edges, find your way back to solid metal, and then just fill in the centre. Fair bit of heat in this, so like I've said multiple times today, it's going to be warpage, but it's not huge warpage. I've kept the heat down to as minimum as I can. There's a blooming big hollow there and a high there, you know, and that panel was pretty much perfect before I started it. But again, you can't go cutting giant sections out of a vehicle and not expect to have to do some work to get it straight again afterwards. So I'm alright with it. I'm pretty happy with that. Come from this side and have a look. So now I'm going to grind it back, blend it. Also remembering, when you're grinding it, you're creating heat as well. So keep moving around with the grinder. Try not to labour in one spot. You can, I have, when I was young, warped a panel quite badly just grinding back the welds. So I was using a technique where we'd put a damp rag on the welds and I kept it pretty good and then stuffed it with the grinder. So lessons learned, I guess. Yeah, I'm turning it off now. I'll come back when I've ground it, and then I guess there'll be a little bit of bodywork, and hopefully I can get a bit of primer on it before I have to go in. It is getting late though. Right, that's it with the flappy disc on the angle grinder. And now I'm just going to start down here, like I've just started down here with the little sanding disc on the impact gun. And yeah, it's going to come up nice, I think. Alright, back to it. I'll cut you back when I've done more. So that was 24 minutes of sanding with that. Like I say, if I had that on a die grinder, that would go a lot quicker and they would last a lot longer, but you know, I'm saying that's $24 well, $24, $30 well spent. Now, got a hollow here. I'm going to have to tap that up. A little bit of a, how do I put it, not a cut through, but I'm going to have to just put a little bit more tack on this and build it up because it's a little bit thin there, but you can see as I'm blending it, it really does become quite seamless. I'm not going to grind underneath. I don't need to. I don't see any point to doing that. Hear the birds on my roof. I don't see any point to grinding underneath. I'll take off the, you know, the wire that's gone through. But I'm going to fill that. I'm going to use probably bed liner. In Australia we have a product called, what is it called? Not Rhino Liner, but it's like Rhino Liner. I'm going to use that as a sound deadener in this thing. can't for the life of me think what it was called. Anyway, I'll put it up on the screen when I remember what it's called. But it's a truck bed liner anyway, and a stone guard. So I'm going to use that as sound deadener inside the boot. It'll never be a problem having, you know, weld under there. And like I say, that'll add strength to it. But yeah, look, I can't complain about that. I reckon that's going to be a pretty darn good repair when all is said and done. And a slight film of what we call metal mend. I think you guys in America call it metal fix. I don't know what you guys in England call it, but you know, I'm looking at that and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm pretty darn happy with that. Obviously I've got more to do. I'm running out of battery, I'm running out of day, and I'm running out of energy, so I'm probably going to call that it for this part of the video, but I'll come back to you and, you know, we'll keep on. So I don't know whether that'll be in this video or whether that'll be further on, but yeah, it's coming along. It's coming along. I'm pretty darn happy. Alright. Back at it today. It's the next day. Put a little bit of metal filler on, which is this one here. Probably not necessary because I blended it and everything, but I just like to put it over just in case there's any little pinholes I've missed or anything. That's a little Azudo rip-off of the Dremel that I was talking about. Quite a good little bit of gear. And I've just got this one. You go to Super Cheap, you can buy a whole... Come on, focus. You can buy a whole box for $25 of different ends and little sanding things, and it's brilliant. Anyway, I'm going to use that to clean out these holes. They're for the boot hinges. So that's what that was attached to originally when I had to drill them out on the other vehicle. This is a repair that somebody else did prior. It's actually a really good repair, so I'm going to leave it. They've brazed it in. I do have to MIG up that there, so I'm going to do that now. I won't record all of that stuff, I'm just going to get on with it. But yeah, progress is being made, people. So clean them out. I'm not cleaning up around them because I don't really want the weld to go around them. I just want to plug weld. So I'm not looking to do a big overflow of weld onto the panel itself. I just want to plug those holes. This here's got a bit of braze in it, but my experience with the MIG is it'll just melt that away and cling to the clean metal. I've never had a problem MIGging over braze, so there you go. Okay, that's all I wanted to do with those welds there. That's everything it needed. I started in the center of the hole and just held the wire in there until it filled the hole and plugged it, which is why they're called a plug weld. This here, I chased it, so it turned out, you know, that's how far back I had to go, and now I've got to grind that and smooth it and everything. It looks ugly. It is ugly, but it'll be alright. But like I said before, you're dealing with metal that is, you know, 30 years old. It's going to wear out. So expect little holes to have to be chased until you get back to the clean metal. I start by, as I blow it away, I just keep following it back until I get to a solid bit of metal and, you know, the weld sticks. And then I just kind of build out from there, and that you're basically chasing the good quality solid metal to build a scaffold around, and then you fill it in from there. So I'll sand that and blend it, and then I'll show you what that looks like. What we've ended up with there, a little wipe of metal fill, and that'll be done. So that's it's been blended, and there's just a few little bits and pieces, little hollows and whatnot, but yeah, that's all I'm looking for there. I'll put a little bit of metal fill, and when I, you know, fill it and sand it and prime it and sand it and prime it and sand it and all the rest of it, that'll come up fine. So I'm quite happy. Better than a hole anyway. Alright, I've filled it, sanded it. Now, you got to remember that I'm probably still going to have to gap this once I put the boot on. So this is not its final sand. If I have to gap it, and I think I do from when I put the boot on last time, but you know, there may be some adjustment there, I don't know. But if I do have to gap it, then there's more cutting and welding required. You can see that that is a very thin layer of body filler. It's pretty transparent in most places. I'm just going to chuck some primer over it to protect it. I'm just going to chuck some primer over it to protect it, is what I'm trying to say. It's pretty close to flat, but I'm going to skim the whole thing anyway and get it spot on, build it up with good quality primer fillers and block it back multiple times. You know, I don't need it to be perfect and show quality, but I do want it to be perfect and show quality, if that makes any sense. So, you know, you get out of it what you put into it. So if I could put plenty of time in and lots of primer and stuff and time to block it back, then I'll get a really good end result. So that's probably going to be it for this one. I'll just cut back quickly once it's primed so you can get an idea of what that looks like. But yeah, I'm stoked with how that's turned out. I've still got to do that side there, but I'm not going to bother filming that because you've seen how I did this side here. So I don't want to be rinse, lather and repeat. I want to give you new content. Just quickly on this here, that's those little discs. The ones I got for 30 bucks. They're doing a marvellous job. So I'm stoked with the way they're stripping everything back, and they've been very, very handy on this job. Alright, I'll cut back and show you that. Alright, that's the, I'm going to say finished product for today. That's definitely the finished product, but that's still incredibly wet. Well, if you get a bit of a look along there, you can't exactly see where it was joined, can you? I'm pretty happy with that. No, I'm not pretty happy. I'm extremely happy with that. So that's that for now. And like I say, I'm going to go on with that now. One thing I do want to say, let me just turn off the music. When I first started the channel, I was talking about all these super cheap products, the acrylic lacquer clear, the primer, so this primer, and how good they were, but they're not doing them anymore. From what I understand, with the conversation I had with the manager of my local super cheap, this particular company that was making these went out of business. So I'm as clueless as the rest of you as to what to use now, and I really don't like the fact that it's going to be a suck it and see on my project, because I know that this was really good stuff. So yeah, watch this space. So I've just had to chuck a bit of etch primer over that, which will end up having to be sanded off, because you all know my opinion on etch primer, but that's just to keep the weather off it for now. Yeah, so I'm pretty sad about that. Anyway, Thanks for watching today. Be kind to one another. It's free to be kind. If the mood so takes you, please like, comment or subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one. I don't know if you can see them, but I got a couple of mascots just hanging out in the shed.